Yeah, good morning, all. We'll start our session. Yeah, in the last class, we were discussing the network layer uh, as well as data link layer. We have just finished with respect to module 4. Now, we'll move on to the next particular topic. Your module 5 is going to start from today. So, it is having wired as well as wireless networks to be studied in this particular module. So, first, we'll go with wired networks. In the wired networks, local area networks only we are just taking it, not with respect to wide area networks or metropolitan area networks is not considered here. All are coming under the local area networks because your network is divided into several categories, three major categories. Under that, LAN is the first one, so that is what we will be just taking care. In the wired LAN, the first topic that we'll be coming to know is Ethernet. Somebody asked me a question, what is Ethernet, sir? Your answer will be I can answer you better in this particular topic. Wired LANs, normally it will be called as a Ethernet. It is nothing but a cable. That's it, nothing else. What type of cable you are using for communication, whether it's a bus topology, point to point topology, or star topology, whichever the topology that you want, you can just have it. But Ethernet is nothing but your communication channel. So to that particular wired one or wireless, depending on that, we'll just study. So normally this um, LAN will come under the project of 802, which has been specified under the IEEE standards. What is IEEE? Can anybody answer this question? What is IEEE? Am I audible to all of you? Hello? 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 Am I audible? Yes. Can anybody tell me the abbreviation, or you can just write it in the chat? What is the abbreviation for IEEE? We call it as in short IEEE. Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely right. Yeah, we'll just move on to the next one. See, under this particular 802, the two with respect to your IEEE standards, they have defined all these LAN protocols. So 802.1, 802.2, 802.3, like that, they have just defined it. So under that particular belt, your LAN protocols will be defined. So we'll just check out what is this particular LAN is all about, where it is exactly pointing it in our OSI reference model. Normally, it will be pointing with respect to your data link and the physical layer. So there your communication, actual communication happens. So that's why we'll just concentrate on these two layers completely. So this is the brief introduction or diagrammatical representation how your LAN standards will be recognized by your IEEE. It will be based on your data link and the physical layer, because under that belt only you will be having the transmission medium. So with respect to that, your data link layer, under the data link layer, medium access control protocol is there, right? So that is where you are concentrating with respect to your LAN standards or LAN protocol will be assigned to. One is Ethernet MAC, token ring MAC is also there, token bus MAC is also there, but we are concentrating more about this Ethernet MAC. MAC means what? What is MAC? MAC, media access control, or else it has one more particular thing. Physical address will always be addressed with respect to your MAC itself. So this is where it will be concentrated with. So from the Ethernet MAC, it will be concentrated with respect to your Ethernet physical layer. So from the physical layer, it will be transmitting the data to the transmission medium. From the transmission medium to the other layer. So this is very, very important to know. So that's why in the data link layer, the MAC is very, very important to address. Why? Because without the physical address, I cannot move further. Logical address will come from the upper layer, that is your network layer. From the logical address, we cannot decide from which particular system it has been come from, because logical address can change from system to system also. You may give the same address with respect to some other particular system, but that system cannot have the same MAC ID. So MAC address will give you the exact picture of to whom you're addressing to, which particular system is holding the IP address also, it will give you the complete details. For that reason, you require the MAC addresses. So we need to just look into the, before moving further with respect to a standard Ethernet, we need to just go with one particular simple thing called as a MAC sublayer. What are all the things that it will be containing? What that particular format is? Frames, once again, we'll be concentrating with, because data link layer always will be concentrated the data as a frame itself. In the physical layer, it will be in terms of the data, that is in terms of bits, how it will be flowing that particular data. But MAC sublayer, it is nothing but the frame format, and under that particular frame format, the data will be attached from the above layer. So this is what it will be just generated with, right? So we'll just see one by one. Ethernet evolution through 4 generations. There are 4 generations that is available with respect to your Ethernet evolution. First and the foremost is the standard Ethernet. This will be having the maximum capacity that it can take is 10 Mbps line, it will be having it. Whereas fast Internet, 10 into 10 times of that, that is 100 Mbps it will be. Gigabit Ethernet, it is 1 Gbps, that is 1000 Mbps will be the answer for that. The next one is 10 times of that will be nothing but 10 gigabit Ethernet. So this is the 4 Ethernet generations that you will be having with respect to your Ethernet evolution. So one by one, we'll just check it out. Before that, I told you MAC frame structure is very, very important to address with. So with respect to your MAC frame format, what are all the things that it contains? First and the foremost thing is your preamble. What is this preamble is all about? Why this preamble is needed? It says it will be taking the total 7 bytes of length, and then your SFD will come into picture. SFD is nothing but your start frame delimiter. Preamble is, it is taking 7 bytes. 7 bytes means 7 into 8. 7 eights are, what is the value? Depending on that particular value, you'll be just deciding this. So that many bits, what it will be doing is, it will be just taking alternate ones and zeros. Say for example, the whole 56 bits, whatever you are mentioning it, it will be alternating zeros and ones. 1 followed by 0, 1 followed by 0, 1 followed by 0. Like this, it will be taking 56 bit. This is how it will be framed. Whereas your start frame delimiter, whatever they are saying it, it is nothing but 1 0. It is fixed one. 1 0 1 0. It will be of 1 byte length, that is 8 bit only. 1 0 1 0 1 0. The last 2 bits will be always high. This is your start frame delimiter. Flag it is a flag, that is why it will be giving that particular number itself. It is a fixed one. You cannot change it. Why this? What is the meaning of start frame delimiter and preamble? Preamble is used whenever we need to say that yes, before synchronization or before starting your new frame, this is what the frame that it is coming. So you need to get ready for that, for accepting that particular frame. Start frame delimiter also will be doing the same thing, but it is a constant one with respect to the value that has been given. So in our particular today's world, the Ethernet, whatever we are using it, in that the frame structure, this preamble and the SFD will be combined, and this will be taken care with respect to your physical layer header. This is nothing but what where that particular frame starts. Wow, how can I synchronize that particular frame? For all those particular details, it will be giving you. So this becomes, entire thing becomes 8 bit of length. This physical header, if you combine it, it will be of 8 byte. It's not 8 bits, 8 bytes. It will be around 64 8 bytes in the sense, 64 bit length. What does preamble and preamble is, this is where I'm starting for. That is what it will be saying it. SFD will also give the same thing. This is where the frame structure will be starting. Here afterwards, whatever it comes, it will be nothing but your frame that is attached with respect to the destination that which it wants to communicate with. What is the next particular thing? a 6-byte length will be reserved for destination address. It's a MAC address, I'm telling you. This is MAC frame structure, so that's why. Which type of addressing? It is not the logical address. There is no 192.168. No, not like that. Your MAC address will be of 6-byte length, that to hexadecimal. Each one of it will be containing 2 bits. So 0F followed by FF followed by 05, 3 is over, yeah, then A, E, 1, 2, 3, 4 is over, 5, 6. So this is a destination address. This is the physical address of the system that you want to communicate to. Source address is also 6 bytes, and this 6 bytes is nothing but it will be a hexadecimal value once again, which is the address of that particular machine. Understood? So that is what it will be holding with respect to your source address. The length is nothing but it will be the length of the whole particular data that you want to transmit to. The last one is data and padding. So this particular data and padding, it's of a variable length, but generally it will be taking only the maximum of 1500 bytes. Normally it is an integer type. Integer value means it starts from 0 and it ends with 65,534. This will be the maximum value that it will be holding, but it will not utilize all the 65,534. It will be limited to 1500 bytes itself because of various reasons. It will be your Ethernet with respect to your MAC frame. It will be holding only 1500 as the maximum value. So it starts from 46 and it will be ending with 1500. 46 bits. It starts with the minimum value and it will be holding. This is the minimum. This 1500 is the maximum value that you will be holding it. Next is CRC. This will be holding 4 bytes length. So this 4 byte length, it will be taken care with respect to your what will be the value? It is CRC, cyclic redundancy check. You can use checksum. You can use CRC, cyclic redundancy check itself, for error detecting. So error will be detected over here with respect to your CRC, whatever the frame that you are delivering. So if this particular frame, if you combine the values of it and if you get the same value at the decoding part, at that time it is well and good. If there is some difference in that particular data has been achieved, means anything about 0, if it is coming, means then there is some problem. So we'll be just saying that you need to retransmit the frame once again, right? So this is what it will be having. So what will be the maximum length of your minimum length of your MAC frame structure? So if it takes 46 bytes with respect to this, it's not bits, it is bytes. So it will be taking 46 bytes, means what will be the length? 46 bytes. If it is taking, means 8 plus 6 plus 6, 12, 12 plus 8 is 20, 22, 22, 26, 26 plus 46, whatever it is that, it will be the value that you will be getting it at the one end, which is minimum with respect to the 1500. If you just add it, means whatever the value that it comes, depending on that, you will be just getting the length of the frame that you are sending it to the other end. Okay, so this is a very simple thing that we can just go through it with respect to the MAC frame. See here, the minimum payload length 46 bytes, maximum payload length 1500. So if it is with respect to your 46 bytes length, then at that particular point of time, you need to leave this preamble and SFD, because it will be addressed with respect to your, it is just for the addressing for your physical layer. Physical layer, it need to just get ready for accepting or for transmitting the data. So just because of it, you'll be just leaving that particular 8 bytes. It will be around 64 byte length with respect to the actual frame that you are just generating. 1500, if you add it, means 1518 bytes. It will be just the value that you will be having it with respect to this. Understood? So the frame length, that's all with respect to maximum and minimum that you will be sending it. How the Ethernet address will be available? Ethernet address will be in the hexadecimal format. So it will be addressed with respect to your 6 bytes. That is what the MAC address, that is what I just told you. So 06 colon, it will be separated 01 colon 02 colon 01 colon 2C colon 4B. This is nothing but your example of your Ethernet address, how it will be understood. So 6 byte length, each byte will be having 12 hexa digits. So 12 into 6, totally it will be 48 bits. So that's how it will be addressed with respect to in terms of bits if you want to convert it. Okay, the next one is addressing. We have seen one particular type of addressing with respect to your logical link layer in the last module. In the last class itself, we have seen it. That is unicast and multicast followed by broadcast. So 3 type of addressing we'll be having it. How to consider or how to check whether it is a unicast address, how to check whether it is a multicast address, how to check whether it is a broadcasting address. Broadcasting address is very simple. The device will be holding the least significant bit of each particular byte. You need to just check out. So for the first particular byte itself, if it is of FFFF, that is all or once, then you can just say it is a broadcast one. So that's how it will be done. So if the last least significant byte in that, if it is saying 0 means it is unicast, if it is 1 means it will be multicast. Understanding it? We'll just check out with respect to one simple example, then you'll come to know. See how, okay, define the following destination addresses, type of the following destination addresses, whether it is a unicast or multicast or broadcast. So with respect to this, C is ruled out because all or FF means it is nothing but it will be holding the value as maximum. How this particular addresses will be addressed? Now, whenever you want to send it, whenever you want to send the addressing to the destination, it will be in the format of left to right fashion. But according to the system, how it will be just taking care is from right to left, it will be start reading it. It will not read from left to right, it will read from left to right to left. So from right to left, which is a least significant bit that you are having it, it is 4A. With respect to this 4A, if you are taking it, I'm taking one a simple example with respect to this 4A. If you are taking it, how to represent A in terms of binary values? 4 is represented by 1 followed by sorry, if it is of 0 followed by 1 0 0. This is 4. But with respect to your A, if you are taking it, how to represent A? How to represent A? 4 has been addressed now. Yes, exactly right. It is represented as 1 0 1 0. So this is what your A is all about. So with respect to this now this is your 4A representation. With respect to this, what is the least significant bit of this byte? It is 0. So it is called as unicast addressing with respect to this. Got an idea now? You got an idea? Can somebody tell me what is this particular? Now, you will be sending the address in the left to right fashion, but the system reads in the reverse order. That means your whatever the least significant bit for you, it is available. It is a most significant bit for the system that it will be reading while reading. So it reads the last bit first, then it will take care about this. Now this 47, if you just take out, because you are concentrating with respect to system addressing, so with respect to that, which type of addresses that you are taking it. So 47, in this 4 is represented in the similar fashion 0 1 0 0. But what about the 7? What will be the least significant bit that you will be having it? 7, how to represent it? Yes. According to this, what it will be saying is 0 1 0 followed by 0. The next one is 0 1, 1, 1. So last or least significant bit of your first byte, what it is saying, first byte is this one. So depending on that, it will be giving you the answer as 1. So it is multicast. It is not broadcast, it is multicast. If you are taking the broadcast at that particular point of time, once again, you need to concentrate with respect to your first byte that you are having it with respect to your data or address that you are having it. In this particular addressing, the last or the least significant bit, you can just observe it. So your particular last byte, entire thing, it will be 111. So 4 ones, you'll be getting the answer for F. So with respect to this, it is called as, it is a special type of multicast that is called as broadcasting. So this is how we'll be just identifying the different types of addressing that we have with respect to the addressing principle. Okay, based on your MAC address, we'll just decide which type of address that, what is the type of addressing that we are making it. Whether it is a unicast, that is one to one, or one to many, or one to all. One to many is multicast, one to all is broadcast, one to one is unicast. So it will be decided based on your most significant bit of your first byte that you are sending it. That's what it is. See here, the address, whatever you send it, it will be from left to right. So it will be in this particular fashion. But for each byte, it is represented from right to left. So each byte will be identified from the right to left fashion. In that, bit by bit, it will be just addressing. So based on that, you'll be getting the addressing part. See here, 47 is mentioned over here. So with respect to this particular 47, it will be just taking care how it will be addressed. Okay, so that's how we can identify the addressing part. Next will come with respect to your standard Ethernet. So in your standard Ethernet, there are some common implementations available based on the transmission of the digital signal, all or digital signals itself, based on the transmission of the digital signal, which type of signal that we are using it, whether it is a baseband signal or low band or high band, which one we are using it, based on that, followed by how much data that I can transmit in a particular medium, or how much it can occupy the space in the channel or transmission medium, followed by how far I can just identify it. See here, 10 base 5 is that. So with respect to this 10 base 5, what it will be telling us is, if I just try to annotate it, so if I just take it 10 base and 5. So I'll separate each one of it. 10 is there, base is there, 5 is there. This 10, what it will be indicating is, it can hold 10 Mbps of data, or 10 Mbps can be transmitted using this particular type of cabling. 10 MB per second it can transmit. That's what it says. And the next part, that is your base. It is saying that you can send the digital signal in terms of baseband signal. What is this baseband signal is all about? We have already understood with respect to your physical layer. So in the physical layer, your baseband signal will comes into picture. So that's what the thing that they are saying it. Baseband transmission with respect to that too. Digital signal is transmitted. So your baseband, if you want to have a note on that, there will be a FL, that is low frequency, and there will be a high frequency. In between whatever is there, that will be the thing that they will be considering. Now the last part, that is with respect to your 5. What this 5 indicates? It indicates how far it can travel. That is, it is indicating that, it will indicate that it is traveling for 500 meter length. 500 meter length it can travel, it can take that particular thing. So it will be using the topology as bus, and the cable that you are using is thick coaxial cable. thick coaxial cable is the one that we'll be just concentrating with respect to your 10 base 5. Similarly, with respect to your 10 base 2, if you are having it, so if you just take care about the 10 base 2, 10 base, sorry, it should be uppercase letter B. So this is a standard notation, you cannot change it. So 2. So this 10 is once again the 10 Mbps itself. Base is always the base band which with respect to your digital signal. But 2 refers to 200 meters, but it will not give you the exact 200 meters. What the value that it will be providing you is, it will be just taking 185 meters of length it can travel. So less than 200 itself. So compared to your particular base 5, it is base 2. So that is less than 200 meters is the one that it will be targeting to. So with respect to that, it will be 185 meter exactly. That is what the distance that it can travel, or it can take the data. But 10 Mbps data it will transfer, and you will be using the baseband itself. The topology that you're using it with respect to your base 2 is bus topology itself, but the cable, the wired cable that you are using is a thin coaxial, and compared to your thick coaxial with respect to 10 base 5, it is a thin coaxial cable that you are using it. Next one is 10 base T. What is this T is all about? 10 is 10 Mbps, base is baseband. That is what we have just understood. Yes, we can easily say that. What is T? T indicates with respect to this, T indicates twisted pair. Twisted pair. The name itself suggests that you will be having two wires, two cables, it will be twisted and it will be just transmitting it. Somewhat it will be looking like this. Anywhere if you just open it, it will be having a rubber coated or an outer coated one particular thing will be there. If you just cut and if you just pull that particular chin out of it, so you'll be getting the exact winding, copper winding will be there. Inside that particular copper winding, you may find more than two wires. It will be twisted and it will be just taken care of. That is nothing but a twisted pair of addressing. But in this particular twisted pair, we will be using UTP. What is this UTP is all about? UTP stands for, okay. UTP stands for unshielded twisted pair. There is one more thing called as STP, shielded twisted pair. With respect to your twisted pair wires, you will be finding two different types of cables that is available. One is unshielded twisted pair, another one is shielded twisted pair. But unfortunately, with respect to your 10 base T, we are using unshielded twisted pair itself. Understand it? So with respect to this, it will be using the unshielded twisted pair, but the topology that we are using with respect to your 10 base T, that is for twisted pair, is star topology. You need to remember all these particular techniques. That's it, nothing else. So it's simple theory concept. All are already implemented and it has been signed by an external organization called as IEEE, and it has given a green signal. You need to use these type of cables. That's it. If you want to invent, you can invent. You need to just get an approval from the IEEE. Once you get the approval, you can just leave it to the market. So all these are available with respect to our LAN cables. So these are all different types of cables that we are using. This is for standard Ethernet. Standard Ethernet always comes from 10 Mbps. Minimum that it need to transmit is 10 Mbps of data in the wired communication. So in that baseband channel, that is what you need to just use it, followed by how far it will be traveling. Depending on that, you'll be just getting this particular knowledge. So what is the distance? We'll just come to know later. Then this FS refers to your fiber network. Normally, nowadays we are using this particular fiber network. Previously, we were using the 10 base T, that is twisted pair of communicating wires. We are using it now. We are moved to the fiber networks. With respect to your fiber networks, uh, more fastly you can just transmit it. That's what it will be saying it. So we'll just this F refers to your fiber. Okay, so that's all with respect to your this thing. So we'll just check out one by one. And one more thing I just forgot to tell you, all these particular standard Ethernet implementation, if you are just going to deal with that, so it will be using the Manchester encoding and decoding technique. Manchester encoding and decoding, line encoding technique. If we have if you can just remember it, in your physical layer we have the conversion from your digital data to a digital signal. How we'll be converting it based on several line coding technique: polar, bipolar, unipolar. So in the polar, we have a separate area called as Manchester encoding technique. So that is what we'll be just using it with respect to it. Okay, 0 will be represented in what way? Yeah, yeah. If you have 0 means it may start from the highest one at the beginning, then it will go exactly at the middle, it will go down, it will go to the lowest available or lowest amplitude that is available in the entire network, minus V. From there it will be just moving to the next state. So this is what you are having it with respect to your Manchester encoding. So if it is 1 month, it's a reverse one. So it will take from the lowest one, it will move to the highest one, and exactly at the half it will be staying at the same particular constant level. So this is nothing but your Manchester encoding technique that we are using. It is purely assumption. If you are using 0 for this, yes, you need to just say it. If you're using 1 for it, you need to just say it at the beginning. What is 0, what is 1, how it will be represented. This should be negotiated by both sender as well as the receiver. Then you can easily get the answer once it reaches to the destination part. Understood? So this is the encoding and decoding technique that we are using it with respect to our standard Ethernet. Whether it is 10 base T, 10 base F, 10 base 2, 10 base 5, whatever it may be, we are using the same particular encoding technique. As I told you, see here, 500 meter, that is what it will be just transmitting. This cable is nothing but your 10 base 5. This cable, whenever you are having a repeater or a transceiver in between, you will be communicating to that particular system. Means from the system to this cable, you'll be having maximum 50 meter length. So this is 500 meter length it can transmit. So here with respect to your cable, whatever you are connecting with respect to the system, it will be of 50 meter length. So that is the advantage that we have. Similarly, with respect to your base 2 implementation, the same thing. With respect to here, it is a one type of repeater. You're just having it, and you're just receiving the signals to the different end system that we are having. It's a bus topology. Next one is twisted pair. So twisted pair in that UTP. Two pairs of UTP cable, two pairs. That means 4 cables will be there in that particular UTP, unshielded. What is this unshielded is all about? What do you mean by unshielded one? Unshielded means it will be not having any windings, extra windings above that particular pairs of wires that you are having it. Say for example, think that this is a cable. In this cable, you'll be having several wires. And this will be of copper, and this particular windings are nothing but the twisted pair that you are having. Two pairs like that, you'll be having it with respect to your cable. That's what it says. So you will be not having an extra shield for this particular entire scenario itself, or else you'll be not having the shielding for your copper wire. With respect to your copper windings, above that, if you have one more particular shielding, means at that particular point of time, one more skin, if it is there with respect to your rubber or any other particular thing, then it will be easy for us to handle it. So that particular skin will not be available in the UTP. If you're getting confused, I'll just try to. Okay. Think that this is a cable for time being. In this, you'll be having many wires, right? One pair I'm writing it, another pair you imagine it. So this is one particular pair for one particular end. So with respect to this particular pair, you may not be having any particular extra shielding. So if you are having a extra shielding for this particular entire scenario, then it will become shielded twisted pair. Otherwise, it will be called as an unshielded one. Fine. So that's what it will be having. Whereas with respect to your fiber implementation, you need to have two separate cables that we need to have it with respect to your fiber optic cables. You need to use it for transmission, one for transmission, one for receiving. Understanding it? Because with respect to your fiber, you'll be always getting one wire, one winding wire. You'll be getting a one particular wire for your one fiber line, a thin particular wire it will be that. So it will be very, very smaller when compared to whatever the copper winding wire that you'll be having with respect to your twisted pair. So it will be very, very thin, and this particular thin will give us the data to be transmitting to a greater distance with greater amount of with no error, you can say it. Okay, so one end for your transmitting, another one for your receiving. So two wires you need to have it with respect to your fiber implementation. Yeah, they have summarized your entire standard Ethernet implementations. So first of all, the media that you are using is thick coaxial cable with respect to 10 base 5, thin coaxial cable with respect to 10 base 2, 10 base T, two UTPs. Why? Two pairs we are using it, one for sending, another one for receiving. So since we are having two different things that we will be doing it for a twisted pair, so like the two pairs you need to have it. Similarly, with respect to your 10 base F, two fiber lines you need to have it. Each one will be having one winding, not more than that. There will be no two twisting of that particular wires. Separate it will be having. With respect to your maximum length that it can transfer your 10 MB of data is, with respect to 10 base 5, it is 500 meter. With respect to 10 base 2, as I told you, 185 meter. 10 base T, it can take around 100 meters. It is very, very limited when compared to your 10 base 5 also. So that's what the major drawback that we are having it. But with respect to your 10 base F, it will be faster. As I told you, when compared to others, 10 base F, that is fiber, is very much faster in transmitting the data. Without error also it will transmit. So that is the advantage that we have with respect to your fiber cables that we will be using for transmission. So this will be around 200 meters that it can travel. Line encoding, all will be using the same Manchester encoding and decoding technique at the end. So with this, we'll stop here. So this is the simple introduction about standard Ethernet implementation, how the cabling will be there, what is that particular cable, and all those things. The topology is with respect to your 10 base 5, 10 base 2, it is bus. With respect to your 10 base T, it is star. With respect to 10 base F, it is star. Star means one single node will be there. Every node, every other particular system will be connected to that particular single node. Maybe you can use it as a router or a switch or a hub, anything can be connected. But bus, a single cable will be there. It will be transmitting the data or as well as receiving the data in the same particular cable itself. It will be communicated with respect to the same channel. So like this. Fine. So with this, we'll stop here. Rest of the Ethernet cabling, we'll just see it in the next class. Okay, thank you very much for your patience listening. So we'll just continue our session in the next particular class. Thank you.